Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline Studio. I'm Sybille Muschik, and behind the camera as usual is Joshua Blanc. Now today we're talking about Haida Gwaii. Unfortunately it's not a place I've visited, but recently my instructor for NIA went there and I asked her to get me some shells if she could. And so we came away with these little treasures, and I've been trying to name them. There are sites on YouTube and so forth that have shells, and I think this is it's a drupe. Yeah, so this is a drupe, and I've done some drawings. We'll be using these as transfers later in the episode. And they didn't even mention the lowly clam shell, but I think that's what it is. And it's lovely because it has all these rings and things. And I kind of think this is another type of clam and has some interesting markings. So now you can't just, because it's not a flat surface, you can't just put it down and print it. You have to sort of roll it and play with it. And so that's what we're going to do, is we're going to play with the textures, see what we come up with, and then for the final part, I'm going to do the transfers and we'll see the actual shell in a way as a drawing. So let's get started then. I'm going to roll out the blues for the clam shell first. We're trying to get maybe something like a little seascape with waves, because after all these clams are in the ocean. Haida Gwaii is just off the northern part of the British Columbia coast. It used to be called the Queen Charlotte's, but the original name is Haida Gwaii. So we'll just roll this out. I'm also going to add a wee touch of yellow to give it that ocean green rearing off. As usual, we're working with our Amsterdam standard series. These are quite fluid, which is nice. So just add a little bit of the yellow. And this is Naples Yellow Deep. I just have little spots here and there. It just takes that intense blue down a wee bit. And then we get to play. So you sort of have to try and get the feeling of maybe ocean waves, and just do some interesting marks, like crashing surf, that kind of thing. And if you want them to stay a little bit whiter, you can wipe them off. So play with these textures. Just wipe some of this off. My shell is beginning to be quite colorful. So. Okay, so we have rolling surf. And this is a kind of watercolor paper. It's just something it's a student grade, but it's still pretty good quality, so. And it's like tag in weight. I just got it at Staples. They have a big block of it. And as usual, we're running things off here. And we'll see how our waves turned out. Not bad. So I don't know what happened in that corner. Interesting. Anyway, okay, and you really get the feeling of that wave action. Really like that. In simple colors, just keep it simple. So then eventually we'll do that transfer of the shell to show you what it looks like. Okay, we're going to clean up here. Maybe Josh will put a nice interlude in there. And then we'll go to the next part. Okay, so here we go. This is the other little clam, and I'm not sure, maybe a tiny, tiny little clam. Josh doesn't know either. They didn't have clams on the little page that I was looking at for the names of shells. Okay, so let's do colors then. Let's go just a little bit crazy. Some of the ocean critters, things like starfish, can be a really deep purple. So I don't see, and anemones in the ocean are colorful. Ocean flora and fauna are quite colorful, so we're good for that. So I'm just going to roll this out. See how much coverage it has. Quite a nice color. Picking up a little blue from the last print. So let's add a hint of some other color. Let's do orange. We're If you don't try stuff, you'll never learn anything. So don't be afraid to, you just get in there and wail on it. If you'll pardon the pun. Oh, we have a little fuzzle here. Okay. Right. So we want to get these distinctive little lines. So maybe use, there's also kind of an edge here with all the lines as well, like almost like a little scallop. So, okay, so this will be more discreet. You can take your time. And you can mess with it. This is like a herd of clams or something going across the beach. Canada is very good at science fiction, especially horror stories, right? Some of our best films, I think, are so. These clams have gotten attitude. And just proceed with this nice little pattern. And then we'll just do this part of it. And create a bit of a composition. And then our center of interest will be the actual drawing that we're going to transfer. But we'll get through all these first. So this would make a great background for a journal page. You could take it down a step, you know, by brayering another layer and pushing that to the background. You'd have to wait for it to dry, of course. And maybe in the third one we're going to do, that will be what we're going to be doing. So I just want to show you the pad that I got, and it was quite reasonable. This is artist pad, it's called Kid Made Modern, whatever that is. And you can see all the sheets, so it's going to be just fantastic to play with. And I'll give that off to Josh here. And don't have to register it because our last part is just straightforward. So my usual baren. Make sure all our edges are done. And I did tape that down, but it's busy moving around anyway.
Wants to be free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. Now let's see if we got a nice impression. I like this paper. It's really picking up everything. Just a little bit more here. Okay. I think we got it. So look at how beautifully those shell marks came out. Quite impressive. Okay, cleaning up again. Just spritz with a little bit of water. This should just take a second. And next, maybe we'll start with the orange. And the nice thing about these paints, they just are very saturated colors. They're not an expensive brand. And I just love working with them. Okay. We're just going to take that orange down a hair with that neutral gray. So this will look sort of like a sandy beach. And this is our lovely little shell here. Look at the markings on it and the colors. So that's why I've chosen the orange. And we'll see. I'm not sure we'll actually get all the... We'll just try for some of the... roll it out. Get some marks. This is more like mountain scene. Beach rocks, maybe. And some of our little marks are showing up, so that's good. Okay, so then we'll take the bottom and see. It's just a bit on the mucky side, so we'll clean it off. Okay, now we have to think about design and composition a little bit. So, still fairly random patterns. But it will tie the other shapes together. The nice thing is these shells will not injure your plate. There are no sharp edges. And it looks like shells being revealed on a beach. So this is probably as close to what actually is there. Now we just need another sheet. So printing this one. Just a little more edges. Since this is a stiffer paper, it's really important to get those edges down. That's okay. What we'll do is we're going to run another layer on top of this anyway. But it turned out pretty well, except for this one little spot. And then we're going to, no, that's almost dry now, so I think we can just, that's a nice part about this thicker paper, it dries very quickly. And what we'll do is I will just leave this base, and we will use our violet. And we're going to just take it down a bit with some medium so you're just going to have a hint of color on top of that last piece. And if it picks up some of the orange from below, that's fine. That should just give it a little bit more interest. And by adding the glazing medium, you can see how transparent that is. I'm just making sure there's no little spots of color that are puzzle. Okay, just brayer that off. And maybe one last, we just want a hint of color. Right. I'm just lining that up with the plate, and it should register fairly well. Ah, see, we covered up that nasty little white piece. And that's quite beautiful. All right, the registration not too terribly far off. So now if we do put the drawing on top, it will show up quite well. So okay, we're good for now. So we'll do a little interlude and we'll set up for the next part. Okay, now we're at the transfer process. I'm going to be putting this on, and first of all, with the usual transfer, graphite transfer, I just used a 6B pencil this time and a 2B, so we'll see how much it transfers. And we'll just rub it down on the gel plate. We're going to put a whole layer on the entire and cover up everything, but it'll be very pale. We just want to pick up the, look at that. I love these transfers that you're doing with pencils, the graphite transfer. Okay, now I want that sea green to go on this, so we'll see a little bit of that just to take it down a hair. This is an opaque color, so it will opaque our waves a little bit, and then this is just our brilliant blue. It's on the phthalo cool blue, phthalo end. And we're just going to, in order to release that drawing, see the nice green that results? What's with fuzzles today? Okay, you're not allowed. Sometimes in the shallows you can see the seaweed, you know, waving underneath, so, and that's kind of what I want to get at. And it was so nice of my knee instructor to pick these shells up. I'm sure she had enough luggage to take with her as it was, so she wasn't going to pack a great big huge shell for me. I'm not sure Haida Gwaii has really big shells anyway. That's more Hawaii and New Zealand, Josh, right? You get lots of big shells there. So I'm taking down this color quite a bit. It has to be transparent enough so that you could see your transfer. It's like a regular transfer. So hope for the best and see that it I hope everybody's holding their breath and fingers crossed and all those things. As usual, it's all experimental, and that's the whole fun of doing gel plate printing. And we have our shell. Well, I think I'd brayer it a tiny, tiny bit more. And really pick it up. But it's pretty good. Now I would enhance that. At least we have the drawing of it. And you could take colored pencils to that. I might just try another transfer on there. Maybe we'll do several. We'll leave that for now and then think about it some more. But the transfer is quite marvelous. Let's just try onto our Oriental paper and see if we can't pick that transfer up a little bit better. And I'm just going to use a neutral. In that case, we can use it as a collage. The nice thing about Oriental paper, it's very thin, and when you collage with it, it sort of disappears, which is quite great. I'm really rubbing very hard. Okay, so that's what we'll do. I'm going to superimpose, I'll cut this out, I will superimpose that onto as a collage element in there. And I think that will finish off that piece nicely. So we'll leave that for now. And on to the next one. Now these colors are very intense. So we'll have put a layer on that will push this back a little bit. And I'm just going to have to clean that off. And the best way to do that is to use your baby oil. If you can get the lid to behave. And you'll see it just takes it off beautifully. So you never have to worry about graphite being left on your plate that you can't remove it. Okay, so gosh, I hate to take down the brilliance of the... What should we think about it? You never know.
But we have a third one to choose. Yeah?
I know. Yeah. I think what we're going to do is leave this one alone. I just like it the way it is. I might do it as a graphite transfer onto Oriental paper and then collage it on there. I think that might be more effective. Well, we could go ahead and do that actually. Now, I have a lot of graphite on there, but we would just enhance it a little bit here and there. It's fine. No, a little bit more. It's probably wise to use your 9B graphite, but the 4B, 6B, and 8B of course works. You just have to put, you know, overdraw it several times. But it even will pick up shading, that's better. So that's quite nice. So we're going to add some Naples Yellow Deep, Amsterdam of course, and just put that on there. Brayer it on. I'm not going to do the whole plate, I don't need to. We're going to do this on the Oriental paper. And we just want it so that it will pick up the graphite. So like any transfer, you want to be able to see the image very clearly. Smooth side of your Oriental paper and rub hard, muscle. Wow. And here's our transfer. So that will fit on the bottom there. We'll place it in a good spot and then we'll just collage it on. I think that's the most effective. And we'll show that at the final. You don't need to see me cutting and gluing. That's boring. Well, as usual, it's been so much fun here at Shoreline Studio. Thanks so much for watching and being with us. Please take care of your families and yourselves. Try and do some artwork. Stay calm and be happy. Take care for now. Bye now.